Welcome to the Outback Way Podcast. This edition is sponsored by our guidebook, which is available from our website, outbackway.org.au. Welcome to the Outback Way Podcast. I am Helen Lewis. Buckle up as we take you on Australia's longest shortcut, a journey through the heart of Australia. Thank you for joining the Outback Way Podcast. And this episode, we are talking with Jo Nixon from the Beanie Festival in Alice Springs. And our previous episode was with Mark Melrose and the Winton Vision Splendid Film Festival. And he gave us a whole heap of information about what that will look like this year, as well as Jeff Close talking about the Writers' Festival in Winton. So now we'll move on to this show with Jo Nixon and Alice Springs, and we'll hear all about the Beanie Festival coming up. So, Jo, it's a very quirky event, and how did you end up in Alice? How did you end up in the Beanie Festival? Can you just give us a bit of a background in how it all came to pass?
Well, about 22 years ago, my auntie was visiting Alice Springs from Darwin, and she was a mad beanie maker. And she went out to one of the Aboriginal communities to run a workshop on numeracy and literacy. And during the breaks, she was crocheting beanies, and the Indigenous women said, "What are you doing?" And then she said, "I'm making beanies," and mukati, which is the Walpi word. And they said, "We want to learn that. We don't want to learn this other stuff." So they spent the rest of the week making mukati or beanies. And she came back into town with this, 100 or so of these beanies, and she said to me, "Joey, what are we going to do with all these beanies?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I don't know. Let's have a party and see if we can sell them." So we wrote, my husband was in a band, and the band came and played, and we hired a little room at Arrernte Art Centre and hung these 100 beanies from the roof and thought they look amazing, and had a little honesty box and invited our friends and sold them for $20 each, and they all sold out within about half an hour, and everyone loved it. And my Auntie Adi taught people there how to crochet, and they said, "You should do this again next year and have another little party." And the Beanie Festival was born, and I was dragged into it by my aunts because I was living in Alice at the time, working as an audiologist. And from 100 beanies hanging from the roof in Arrernte, we now have about 7,000 beanies hanging from the roof in Arrernte, and we thought that 100 beanies looked amazing, but really 7,000 takes the cake.
Yeah, wow, that's extraordinary. And where do they? Yeah. And so everyone makes beanies and contributes. So how does all that work? How do you get the beanies?
Yeah, so we've over the years we've grown and developed and sat down and thought about it. And the idea behind the Beanie Festival is that anyone can enter their beanies. It's really inclusive. It's not an exclusive sort of invitation only. We want anyone who can make a beanie to have a go and feel included. It's about feeling included and letting everyone be a part of it. So we have about 500 beanie makers this year, I think, will be sending in beanies. Many of them have been sending beanies for years. Lots of new people. We have people sending beanies in from New Zealand and USA and Canada and Japan and Holland and all
international event. Yeah,
it's an international event, truly an international event.
And so do the people then who send their beanies in then get to sell them, so they get the money for them? Or what happens?
Yeah.
It's like an art exhibition when you get some commission. So you get some commission and oh, that's great. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so there's two aspects to the festival in terms of the beanies. There's the national beanie competition for the completely U-Butte amazing beanies that sit in the gallery at the Arrernte Art Centre, and then there's Beanie Central, which still has wildly outrageous beanies, but it also has the boring bloke beanie in brown, and so
the safe beanie.
Yeah. So it ranges from everything in Beanie Central. Beanie Central's where the 7,000 beanies are, and people come in and try them all on, and there's lots of mirrors, and they all laugh at each other and try and find the best bargain, and people get to price their own beanies. So you get, generous little old ladies who just want $15 for their beanies, and you get top artists who want $100 for their beanies. So you never know what price you're going to get.
Yeah. Oh, no, that sounds like so much fun and a really, really great a great way to spend some time in Alice and enjoy the creativity of so many people. That's extraordinary. 500 people making beanies. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So and then what actually what other things happen over the duration of the festival? You must have lots of music.
Over the festival weekend we have the big Friday night opening night. We have live band and circus and drummers and that's when we announce the winners of the National Beanie Competition and the gallery opens. And there's lots of stall holders, community stall holders selling homemade food. And that's a really fun night on the Friday night. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we have about 40 different textile workshops running. Some of them are run by Indigenous women from Central Australia who teach beanie making and batik and jewellery making and painting and stuff. And then there's lots of visiting textile artists from interstate who teach all sorts of textile things. So you can really, if you're into crafty textiles, it's a fabulous weekend of textiles. And then Beanie Central's open and the exhibition's open for those whole 2 days, and people just come and choose their beanies and have a laugh and then enjoy some homemade dal or pumpkin soup and sausage from the barbecue or a nice piece of homemade cake. And it's a really lovely atmosphere, and there's music all weekend, and it's a really lovely atmosphere.
Yeah.
What's really lovely, we have about 150 volunteers who come up from around Australia, and many of them are grey nomads who drive their caravans into Alice Springs from all around Australia, and they volunteer at the festival, these 150 volunteers. And it's a great way to meet other people who are into beanies or textiles, and people make great friends, and there's lots of people showing each other little tricks how to do their beanies and how to make this or showing off that. And the volunteer base at the festival, anyone can volunteer. You can you don't have to be a beanie maker, and quite often husbands are dragged in. They sort of walk in with first-time volunteer husbands walking in going, what's all this, and we're like, what, great, we need you on the barbecue. And they're like, oh, really, I can help? And we're like, you need them. And all the men are in the barbecue, and they're fighting over the utensils, having a great time. So the men enjoy the Beanie Festival just as much as the ladies.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some pretty creative beanies coming from men's folk anyway. They have their own take on things. It's great.
There's some beautiful male beanie makers. Yep,
that's good. And look, it's just a really it's just a lovely quirky event, and I can imagine it just fills the town with lots of interesting people that have possibly even travelled on the Outback Way from either Winton or Laverton in Western Australia and Queensland, and it's another reason why people can take a bit of a drive on the Outback Way and get to Alice. And the dates for the Beanie Festival this year, Jo,
Friday the 29th of June to Monday the 2nd of July.
Yeah, so it's right.
It's such a great weekend full of colour, warmth, and joy. I can't explain to you what walking into a room of 7,000 beanies is like. But one guy walked in last year and he was standing at the door and he looked up and he just said, "This is more impressive than that big red rock down the road, that's for sure." And I went, "Oh, we've made it."
That's great. What a great line. And also, that's right. And we'd just be absolute stimulation overload. All those colours, all the designs. Like, it would just be a really, really great visual. My gosh, yes, I can well imagine. Oh, that's great. Oh, good. And, well, that's super. Now, what's the best way for people to get engaged and hook into the Beanie Festival?
Well, you can check out the program and the history and the story of the Beanie Festival on our website, which is www.beaniefest.org. And we've also got our Facebook page, Alice Springs Beanie Festival, and our Facebook page is always getting updated with lots of little stories and beanies as they're being catalogued and lots of little tasters there.
And it's actually really quite a great week to be in Alice because then the Alice Springs show comes up next, doesn't it? So the end of that week. So you sort of roll into the show week, which is quite good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's excellent. So there's a nice chunk. Yeah, it's a nice chunk of time to be in Alice, to really see the whole creative side, the pastoral and the whole show side of Alice. And yeah, it'll be really a really good, week to 10 days for people to spend in the centre. So, well, that's great, Jo. Thank you so much for your time and a terrific chat. Is there anything else you wanted to add or anything?
No, I think people have just got to get here and drive up
see it for themselves.
And see it for themselves, and I promise they will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
We are the beanie capital of the world.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
That's really, really very good. Oh, that's lovely. Thanks, Jo, for your time. And until next time, so we usually just do a bit of a rundown on what's coming up. So we have that coming through to the end of June. So the Winton Festival, Film Festival's happening. Then the Beanie Festival, 29th to the 2nd of July. And then we've got the Film Festival continuing into July, and so is the Beanie Festival. The Alice Springs show then backs up after the Beanie Festival for Alice. In Winton, there's the Opal Expo in the middle of July, on the 13th and 14th of July. The Alice Springs Imparja Cup is also on the second week, so there's another reason to stay a little bit longer in Alice in that week or 10 days. Then there's the Big Red Bash in the middle of July down the Diamantina, just south of Boulia. And we have the Boulia camel races to tie in with that, along with the Winton camel races as well. So July's a fairly packed month out in the Outback Way and throughout Outback Queensland and Central Australia. So make your plans and go to the outbackway.org.au website to find out more information about getting to these places and getting involved with all the fantastic events and festivals and attractions along the Outback Way. So thank you all very much, and until next time, take care and travel safely. Thank you for tuning into the Outback Way podcast. Our notes and links will be on our website, outbackway.org.au. You can subscribe to our newsletter, buy our guidebook and download the app if you haven't already. Please join us on Facebook, Outback Way, Australia's longest shortcut, and on Twitter at OutbackWay1. The Outback Way podcast is all about your trip. We're really trying to make it easier for you and give you valuable information to make it more enjoyable. So we'd love your feedback. Send your questions, comments and travel stories to info@outbackway.org.au, and if you share your story, we may even feature you on this podcast. Thank you for joining us through the heart of Australia on Australia's longest shortcut. Cheers for now.